Welcome back to day 6 of the $24 to $1,000 bankroll challenge. My name is Andreas and I'm trying to make this happen in 30 days. Let's have a look at what happened on day 6 in my Hold'em manager. Now here we go with the biggest spots. We can see also that I ran about $20 over EV and with rakeback won a bit more than $36. Now, we have here a hand that in Omaha, sometimes it's fine to cold 4-bet bluff with ace jack 9-8 double suited. Now, I didn't know much about keymars here, but I did know that Rockman played a 93% VP IP, which you can see over here. So I figured that this guy would actually isolate a little bit more than just aces, and I decided that, it's time to go for the cold 4-bet. Now, this guy cold calls, he goes all in, and obviously we're committed against his hands no matter what, and go for the 6-bet and all in. And here we have this guy then cold calling, hoping we both have aces. And luckily we don't cover his suit. We don't, I have an 8, which makes his hand a bit weaker, but it also makes my hand weaker because the 7-8 blocks the straights I'm gonna make with a jack 9-8, so it's actually not good for me. And I'm gonna have the weakest hands in this lineup. Also because keymars has my flush draw dominated. A little bit unfortunate, but on the end, we win this pot and $9. So quite nice. Here we got the ace king, which we 3-bet, and against a 4-bet, I like to jam all in here for 100 big blinds, taking another shot on 5, getting wrecked again. Sometimes it's just not your day. And against cutoff, I'm fine with the play, given that he 3-bet a bunch of times before. Now, ace jack jack 9 here. This has been the biggest pot of the day. He check calls me on the flop, check raises less than 3x on a turn, and then he bets very small on the river. And I went on for like 20 seconds into the time bank and thought about whether I should go ahead and call or jam. I like to go for a jam, which in hindsight, might be a bit ambitious. I thought that he was really stupid enough to, call me with weaker hands. For example, jack 3, 6-3, or just something that has diamonds. For example, on the turn, he could have raised me with, because he has such a high VPIP, he could have something like 3, 5, 6, 7 with diamonds, check raise the turn, bet small with a weaker boat on the river, and then, call my jam. But in the end, he had pocket queens. I think, he probably tried to exactly make this happen in his mind. And a bit unfortunate, obviously also on my end, that we were this deep at this point. Exactly, and yeah, it is what it is. We lose a pretty large pot in the river. Also, needless to say here on the river, this is actually a 200 big blind jam. So in terms of big blinds, maybe sometimes when you're playing so much lower limits, you get carried away a little bit with like looking at the $4 jam and looking at the pots as already. But the reason why it was such a big pot already is that he actually chose to make it 3 bets by the turn. I had the flop bet in, I had my turn bet, and then his raise. So actually, I already, in quotes, get 3 streets of value in case he has a weaker hand. So this is a little bit greedy. If he plays, normal, I probably wouldn't have shoved the river, but I was hoping that, he was going to call me with a weaker boat. And honestly, there have been tons of guys that have called me with weaker boats in these pots when they were quite some fish. And yeah, unfortunately, this was not the case this time. Yeah, it is what it is in the end. And sometimes it's going to happen to you that you jam a little bit too thin for value and just run into those hands. Aces against 2 trashy hands, get it all in on the flop with 48% and making our hand. No big deal. Now here, ace and suited, I like to 3-bet against under the, not against under the gun, by the way. This is just the hijack or MP position. We're in the cutoff. So obviously fine with a 3-bet. And here I like to jam over the min check raise, thinking that I had a lot of draws still dominated, which was true this time. It looks really shitty when he shows you the 7-8 or the 7-6 of hearts. You cannot have the 7-9 of hearts, but you can have king of hearts with something. Yeah, maybe not that many combos given he's raising in MP. However, it worked out fine this time. Also, yeah, against top pair I'm flipping. So here I got the king queen. He limp calls with 78% range. We go for the bet against him if the board runs at somewhat clean. I thought that the 3 was, much better than, for example, a 5. As I didn't think he was having that many threes in his range, being a limp caller. I mean, sure, that could be something like exactly what he has, ace 3. And yeah, I'm blocking king 3 suited. I guess maybe king 3 offsuit he will fold. Who knows? I went for the bet. On the river there was a 5, but again, I think it's likelier that he has a king here. So I went for the jam, and yeah, he had a better hand. Quite unlucky, I think, against a fishy player. Here, aces, get 3-bet, 4-bet, call, get the money in, and win by the river against 2 speculative hands. Kings and 5s also a little bit speculative there, because he's so much up against aces. Here we get queens, get squeezed, elected to not fold against a very wide 3-better Medvedev here, and get 3-way to the flop, which was 9 high, making us a pair and some backdoor draws and a pair of queens, so I didn't fold, and luckily we win the spot as well. What do we have here? Come on. Alright. That went... I mean, yeah, he basically just barreled off, and he just had a queen. Quite nice for us, as we just flopped the nuts. And here we get aces against ace, king, king, flopping an ace, and he wasn't ready to fold for an SPR 1, of course. And then we take down a pretty large pot of $7 or 350 big blinds. Here, yeah, we don't want to fold here against Marcus Gus. Also 30%, pretty crazy 3-better, 92% VPIP. And on the flop, obviously, with 2 pair. We're not going anywhere, winning a 300 big pot. So that is it. And now what I want to show you guys, I want to make it a little bit shorter in this video. So now I'm going to give you some behind the scenes input on what you can do apart from the tables. Now, the first thing is basically going to report step and Hold'em manager. Here I've applied some filters for the challenge. You can see there's 40,000 hands here. I know it's a little bit small, but I hope that with the audio, this will be enough for you to understand what I'm talking about. Now, this is the position tab. You can get the reports from up here, get the position, and then you can see how well you did over the 40,000 hands. And it's already enough, in my opinion, to see some tendencies of the bankroll challenge and what happened and when it went down. And I can already tell what went wrong. It's probably not what most guys would say, that you know, there's some individual hands and blah, blah, blah. But what really went wrong is probably the small blind position and the big blind. Like outside of the blinds, I think the win rate is, you know, 10 or higher. It could be definitely much better. I think we can reach win rates on a button of 50 BB 100 and on the cutoff maybe of 40, and then MP and EP at about 30 BB per 100 should be okay. And then in the blinds, we can almost I think play break even in the small blind and lose about 20 BB 100 in the big blind on PLO2. However, that didn't really work. And, you know, surprisingly, for example, in the small blind, we have a minus 28 BB per 100 loss rate, which definitely doesn't have to be as high. It's almost as high as the big blind loss rate. Sure, the big blind you can realize a little bit more closing the action, and the small blind is really poor position. But for these, you know, low limits, you're still gonna have your, you know, top hands, and then you can always get away from a hand for minus 50 BB per 100. And I would say I've played plenty of hands where I chose to A, waste my time playing the hand in the first place instead of just moving on to another spot where I make more money, and then B, just maybe even losing at 60, 70 BB per 100, so more than one small blind just by playing so. So the way you want to do this is you go into the small blind, you click on the small blind tab, and then you actually look for the hands, you rank by hands. For example, here we also got some no limit hold'em hands. That's why I scrolled down on the right here. So you scroll down to your PLO hands if you're mixing the 2 games. And then you look for those lines that you took and see the worst hands that you were limping with. Here you can see, for example, a limp with 8, 7, 6, 3, which sure, you know, you can complete here, but then oftentimes you get punished by things like this guy's, you know, raising 50% of all hands, and in a 3-way situation for being, you know, out of position, this is just not going to be a good spot to limp call here. So instead of just wasting your time playing out of position against a crazy guy with a weak hand, just play in position with, you know, an okay hand maybe this hand in position would have been totally fine, but out of position, it's just not that easy. It's going to bet a lot. We're going to make some marginal pairs, some marginal draws. We're going to be dominated with our flushers, etc., etc. So this is not a good spot. And you can just go through all your hands that you actually chose to play. You can see, okay, they're all somewhat reasonable looking, at least 8-8-7-5, etc. So just go through the hands and see, okay, this is definitely not reasonable. 9-6-3 deuce double suited. It just looks, you know, also we're going again 3-way, where we have like a cent dead. But, you know, what are we going to make against these two players? 6-high flushers, 9-high flushers, it's just not going to be worth it. Playing the hand even, especially when you're 12 to 16 tabling PLO2. Why would you waste your time in the small blind trying to realize your equity out of position? You're not going to be able to bet 3 streets for value out of position almost ever with those hands. So don't waste your time doing that on low stakes. And it's definitely something I shouldn't have done during the challenge and was more of a, yeah, I complete the small blind. There's a lot of the mistakes that a lot of live players do. When they just see they're getting a good price and trying to come along in the blinds. And I think some of these things might have also happened in the big blind. And if I got min raised, I just completed my big blind because I got a good price. And in the end, I wasn't able to actually realize my equity with weaker holdings, especially low double suited hands that you can see here. Wouldn't really want to play the pot. In other situations, those hands can perform quite great. For example, when under the gun tight opens, middle position 3 bets and 9-8-6 for double suited is, you know, not that bad of a hand when you know they both are. And then you see like a 3 bet and a cold 4 bet, and all of a sudden those double suited, somewhat connected hands, they can do quite okay if the rake is not too high, of course. And if you're really, really sure that both players have aces or ace, king, king, and the like, then it's quite worth playing them. So this is one of the things you can do, database analysis. This is just a glimpse of what I do. I also apply filters. They're more effective in no limit hold'em these days because I haven't figured out 100% of how to filter Omaha. I have some filters for it from the PLO University created by Jane Anders. But I think there could be still some more efficiency when it comes to that, and I'm working on it as soon as I can. Now, you can also obviously look in your multi-table report, which the sample might not be big enough. You can see I played up to 19 tables, and that not for a very long time, only 56 hands until I closed some tables again. And then a lot of the times I played 15, 16 tables, and then mostly 11, 12. 12 was like the most common thing. And here I was actually 12 and 13 tables. I was doing fairly okay. So probably... But also surprisingly, when I played 5 tables and played, you know, just higher limits, it didn't go so well so far. Also a 4 table Zoom. You can see in Zoom poker I was actually losing over 9,000 hands and 10 BBAV per 100. That's why I chose to play more rec speed, because when I was playing 4 tables, it was definitely Zoom and not rec speed. So I lost quite a bunch here playing Zoom poker. This is one thing I do, and I want to show you guys also a second thing, and that is Monker Solver. I work with solvers off stream and also with my students. You can see, for example, a spot that I'm running at the moment. It's King, Queen, Jack, Rainbow. It is an SPR 5. We 3-bet the button against the cutoff open. Now the question is, should the cutoff lead? The answer is no, not in this board, because as you can see here, ace 10 for the out of position player makes up for 11% of his range. And for the in position player, ace 10 is actually 28% of the range. Why? Because ace 10 double suited is a big portion of the 3-betting range, and then aces obviously is even a bigger portion. So combined of the aces here, it's going to be, you know, you either have the blockers with the aces blocking a lot of ace 10 of your opponent, or you have the ace 10, which makes this board specifically, and also the king queen 10 a very good, and also the king jack 10 a very good board for the in position player. Probably this one even the best board of all boards, because also the 10-9 you know, is also represented in both ranges. But let me just quickly see how well the 10-9 is represented without an ace. Okay, like 10-9 is a little bit better obviously in the callings range, but it's still somewhat present and not too absent in the 3-betters range. It's still about 3.5%. So like a third of the time, the in position player flops the nuts. And that's why he should be doing a lot of betting. And he also, as you can see, can capture most of the blind. He wins about 2/3 of the money in there, so about 17 chips out of the 25. So I'm basically running a bunch of boards. As you can see at the moment, I'm doing this button versus cutoff situations with different board textures, and I'm running like one per day, and then I'm putting them into a category. And yeah, I mean, basically this costs, the software alone costs 500 euros. I also had to pay something to learn how to operate with this software. It cost me a bunch. And then also, you know, the server costs are about 100 euros because this takes a lot of computing power. Now, okay, these are the two ways that I can show you for now, what I'm working with. Apart from the tables, there's also some more No Limit Hold'em coming up. I can show some PO solver stuff when we go a little bit to NL5, NL10, maybe if I have some interesting spots. Yeah. So this has been it for a day 6 review and some, you know, basically behind the scenes and how I work on my poker game apart from the tables, off the tables. I hope you guys enjoyed this content. Please hit that thumb up down there, and also subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content. So, you know, I basically can get my message out there. I can grow my channel. I appreciate it a lot. And see you guys Monday when I will be streaming day 7 of the Bankroll Challenge. See you guys then.